don't ride for nobody, no badge, no crew. Truth don't play favors, it just come through. I don't take sides, I take time and review. So to put it, let the context break through. If you clean, that stamp stay true.
A police chief was caught on camera whooping someone's behind in custody. He didn't know the camera was on. I keep telling y'all, cameras are everywhere. Cameras are not your best friend, and sometimes they can be, but not all. Not if you do something wrong, just first thing you think of is, man, cameras. That's what you got to start thinking before you do something stupid. Cameras will catch you, and every time they're gonna be the end of you. So be careful. Let's see how this actually became an issue and how it turned out, shall we? All right.
I don't care what you got. Sit down. Sit down.
In 2021, a small police department in the village of Robbins, Illinois, was falling apart. The village had failed to renew its contract with the local police union in 2019, and within just a couple of years, the department was on the brink of collapse due to low wages, poor working conditions, and officer shortages. And on October 3rd of 2021, it was reported that 12 of the 14 officers that worked at the Robbins Police Department called in to work in protest for the city's failure to correct these departmental issues. This basically left the village with no acting police force, and so the Cook County Sheriff's Office had to step in and take over police duties for the time being.
I see where this is going. Let me I'm going to take a shot in the dark to see if I can be a little bit Nostradamus-ish. My theory: the ones that were there figured they can get away with more by doing less, and they became a little heady. That's my prediction. Let's see if I'm right.
Our job, as usual, everywhere you go, is keep the people safe.
Some words of encouragement before these Cook County Sheriff's Police head out to patrol the village of Robbins. They've been working in the village since Robbins Police walked off the job Friday night.
The newly elected mayor of Robbins, a man named Darren Bryant, assured the citizens that they would be safe while they formulated a plan to revise the department. And the village leaders drafted a man named David Shepard to take over the role as the new police chief. But
a bit young. I'm also going to say that the youth might have had an issue with this. This is a mental and a maturity issue that might affect his judgment of what he thinks things might be. Again, I'm just trying to give more my 2 cents. See if I'm right.
But it didn't take long for things to start going off the rails for the department again. Chief Shepard wasn't getting along with Mayor Bryant, and that eventually led to his termination. Despite the fact that he had managed to fully staff the police department in just about a year's time.
See? I don't like being right. Well, no, I'm lying. I like being right. Right is nice. I like right. If you say you don't like being right, you lying to yourself too. You like being wrong. I like being right. Maturity and understanding that you might not be the one to do something, even though you hired. Look, the guy's there doing his job. You should be happy, not causing contention. You should be like, man, whatever you need to get done, I'm gonna help you get it done. This sounds like an ego trip to me with the young kid, but we'll find out.
And decrease the city's crime rate by a meaningful amount. So this led former Chief Shepard to file a lawsuit against the village of Robbins and Mayor Bryant in his individual capacity. The lawsuit was alleging that the mayor was involved in several different corruption schemes ranging from evidence handling to official misconduct. And this is where the real star of today's story comes into the picture. This is Robbins Police Chief Carl Scott.
Come on. The year just started. The year just started, man. Like I just got it. It's one day. First day. I'll blame Corey for this. I'm blaming Corey for this one. I'm blaming him. I'm blaming him 100%. I absolve myself of responsibility. Buddy, listen, just accept reality and time. Father Time is undefeated. Trust me, you don't need to spray on a beard, and you definitely don't need to spray on a hairline. You don't need to do either one of those things to be like, I think you'd end up looking a lot more professional if you just let your grays and your wisdom show, man. This dude out here with a whole spray painted look. He think he a transformer. Anyway, go ahead.
He's who Mayor Bryant appointed to replace former Chief Shepard after his termination. So I said all that to set the backdrop for today's episode, because it's not every day that a police chief gets permanently banned from policing. But this story has an interesting twist that kind of shows just how deep the corruption runs in local government. So fast forward to April of 2024, when a 43-year-old man named James Snow, who has a YouTube channel called Tyrant Terminator Audits, you might be familiar with him. He's a well-known member of the auditing community, and he decided to conduct an audit at a healthcare center in Robbins. Now, this is James's first interaction with Chief Scott, but it certainly wasn't his last.
And you see why people are reluctant to step out of their way to try and fix fraud in places? It's almost easier to just leave it alone or leave the area altogether. I'm going to anticipate based on how he's framing it, that what's going to happen is he got a little too close to their operation, and being this close to the operation, they could not afford to have him dealing with the operation. So we got to operate. Put your bets in the bottom below. Just put a bet in there.
And what happens in this brief exchange, well, let's just call it foreshadowing.
We have never had that.
I can understand,
Okay,
and that's probably
we have people that we report to. Okay,
real quick.
and
The reason why they have probably never came in and done it is because they probably don't know that they have a right to do it. Sir, are you like the chief?
I am, sir.
Oh, okay. How you doing, sir? I was trying to ask for your badge number. That's in your name.
How can I help you?
He's already trying to be all tough. It's not that you're a public servant, man. You're a public servant. All you got to do is be a public servant, man. That's all. But I might understand why. You're being this belligerent.
Your name and badge number will be here. Help.
Chief of Police of Robbins Police Department.
Oh, you don't want to give your name?
You can get that on the internet.
Okay. Well, I know it's part of you guys' policy. I don't actually need any help. I explained to these officers.
We actually leave, please.
Definitely after I'm done conducting my business. I have official business here, sir.
My business is done, if you don't mind leaving.
Sir, I have a file for you. My business is not done.
For your medical records.
No, I'm not looking for medical records. The general information for this department, sir. Why are you escalating the situation, Chief? Yeah, because you're telling me my business is done and it's not.
He hasn't said what
No, can you give
information he
him
needs.
a card for the business here so he can go?
Sir, I got to file a FOIA before I go. If you're
You don't file FOIAs.
Yes, you do, sir.
You don't file FOIAs in the place of business.
absolutely you can.
Send them the information.
But this ain't a place. Okay, hear me out, people. The FOIA that he's looking for is something that he can indeed get from you. But I know why you don't want to give it to him. I could already tell that you have something that you're trying to hide. Just look at how you behaving and how you have everybody mean mugging the man. And he ain't even being mean. He just there asking questions. It'd be your own people sometime. Anyway, go ahead.
What is
So can I show you the law where it say I can do it?
What are you trying to FOIA?
General information for this department.
Here's general information right here.
No, ma'am. No, sir. That's not what I want.
What is it that you want, sir?
Specific stuff that I'm going to put on my request. I don't have to tell you, sir.
Okay, right now
Respectfully.
you have to leave.
So you saying if I don't leave, I'm going to be arrested?
Sir, I'm telling you right now, you have to leave.
Is it a lawful command?
Your choice on whatever you wanted to do.
No, I'm saying if it's a lawful command, I will.
No, if it's his choice of what he wants to do, I want to make this right. I gotta get it right. So hold on. You need to leave. It's a public place because it's community, government, public. It ain't private. It's like you own the business. Okay, that's for the people. So you tell me he has to leave, and then you say, well, he got to make his own decision. But he asks you if he's going to be arrested. You're not going to answer that question. And now it looks like you're about to come put your hands on the man. But you just told him he can do whatever you want to do. Okay.
So according to James, Chief Scott, along with the other officers, placed him in handcuffs, put him in the back of a patrol car, and eventually issued him citations for disorderly conduct and breach of the peace. James went to court for these charges a few months later, and both of them were dismissed after the judge actually watched the footage in court. So naturally, after having his charges dismissed, James attempted to do the first thing that any victim of police misconduct should do after resolving any pending criminal charges, and he went to the Robbins Police Department to file a formal complaint against Chief Scott. And
Brave. I know what you have to do. A tad brave, though.
here's how that went.
So you have your ID?
Oh, nah. I don't just ride around. Why would you buy me?
Yes, I need your ID.
Why? Because if I want to complain, I'm asking, why do you need that?
Yeah, he wants to run away. No. Sir, we need your identification.
What?
Because the officer is going to issue a citation for a nuisance violation.
A nuisance violation. They are intent on they are intent on closing that police station down, ain't it? A nuisance violation. I'm waiting to see the man be a nuisance. I mean, he's a nuisance to you because he pesky around some facts, and that could definitely be a nuisance.
Nuisance violation.
Yes, I'm going to receive a citation for that, sir.
So you guys are gonna infringe on my rights again.
You need to produce identification or your name and date of birth so our officer can have it, so we can get your information and issue you the citation.
So surrender my Fourth Amendment right to me. Is that what you said?
Sir, identification or name and date of birth.
I'm not gonna surrender my rights.
Okay, sir. That's fine.
I'm not gonna surrender.
Not a problem. So if you know the law, then if you refuse to give yourself your identification, then you have to be fingerprinted and get identification that way. Your choice.
Suspected of a crime.
Right now, you're in violation of no local ordinance, so you're going to receive a local ordinance citation for public nuisance.
Okay, so
Your
decision
decision,
my information. And if I don't, I'll be arrested.
Did I say that?
Okay,
I said that you would be properly identified. That's all I said.
I'll guess my will.
Sir, there's your choice. We're not gonna go back.
I'm not gonna just
Okay.
allow y'all to just.
That's fine.
It's gonna be on you again.
I'm done. That's cool. It's been on me before.
Okay, so then get ready then, man. You're qualified. You ready to go out the window?
Not
contact Robbins Insurance.
Are you gonna give him your ID?
I'm not surrendering my rights.
You're gonna give him your identification.
I'm not gonna surrender my rights.
So you are aware that no video or photos is allowed.
That's
Fine. It's your opinion.
It's not a law. I just gave you.
You're asking your identification so that you can receive a citation if you on your way and you refuse to do so.
So their options are: we give you ticket citation, we make you a problem if you give it, but we're not going to tell you what we're going to do if you don't give it. But you can smell you can smell the threat, right? Y'all smelling the threat? I'm feeling it's palpable, the threat they're already putting down. And here's how the threat is. I'll show it to you real quick. It's on camera right now. They got a cop here facing him, loaded. He's blocking the exit, and another guy, so he's now boxed in. He's boxed in. So the idea right now is a mental threat. Either you give us what we ask you for, or else. Fill in the blank.
I'm gonna say this. I will do it if I'm threatened with arrest. Put it like that. If you say I will be
It's a
arrested,
citation. It's a citation.
Then I will.
You're not going to hear the words arrest come out of my mouth.
Okay.
I'm smarter than that.
Okay.
See? You see? You're not smarter, though. You're stupid for saying that. That tells everybody that you know exactly what you're doing, and it's on purpose. You're not, no, that's not intelligent, sir. That proves that you're a dummy. That proves that what you're doing is indeed intimidation to try and get some, you setting the man up. You just admitted, oh, The hamster wheel is there, but the hamster on life support. That's that poor hamster. Get the hamster some food and water.
It's a citation. You're going to give him your identification so you can receive your citation like any other thing and move on your way.
I'm not going to surrender my rights, sir.
Did I ask you your rights? I
I have a right to be in my person's papers and effects. Fourth Amendment. I have a right.
You don't have the right to video, photo or video when it's clearly posted.
That's not a law.
That's fine. What are you going to give him your identification?
I'm not surrendering my rights.
So you want to be fingerprinted and go through that process?
If you want to unlawful,
okay, but that's fine. We can go this way.
Yep. You can turn your camera off because I can watch video when you're back there.
Okay.
Damn. Excuse me. Little Billy Badass here just walking. Hit my phone. Look, man. What? You see, this is my hope now. This is I'm gonna say it right here and right now. I hope he get arrested, and I hope they put him in general population. I hope that happened. I do.
I did.
Yeah, I did. Tell me, why you being aggressive? Shit, that's what you are. You are. Shut up.
Damn. Now he know cameras on. Body cameras on. Lobby cameras on. Cameras everywhere is on. And he's still doing that. Wow.
Come on, baby.
I don't care what you got. Sit down. Sit down. I got her hand in this, Chief. Yeah. What else you got?
The body camera footage ends here with the chief ordering the two other officers to turn off their body cams, but that didn't stop the interview room's camera from capturing what happened next.
When I told you he's not intelligent, did I lie? I didn't lie. You see, when you use your emotions to act, you act stupid. Okay.
Fortunately, there was no audio attached to this interview room camera footage in the public records request that I submitted. And like I just said, Chief Scott had ordered the other two officers to turn off their body cameras. So we have no idea what's being said here, but I'm sure you can use your imagination. Chief Scott and the other officers trapped James in this room and beat him and interrogated him for over 30 minutes. And I'm just showing you what I can show you here and hitting the highlights of this footage. It is reported that at one point, the chief even asked one of the officers for their batons, but the officer refused to give them to him. The chief also took James's wristwatch and intentionally smashed it, and his cell phone was found in a nearby sewage drain. So they eventually released James after issuing him a summons for a nuisance charge, and it didn't take long for an investigation to be launched into the chief's conduct.
You know, the camera issue, it's a big deal, So let me give a little bit of an expansive conversation here. Life lesson. If you have your, see, like I told you, I couldn't be a cop. Not because, I don't have the ability to pass stuff. I may not now, but I could have. I understand that there are just certain things I won't tolerate. But as a cop, you got to. I understand there are certain things I cannot deal with, but as a cop, you got to. And I consider that maturity. This man is a kid. And he is very, 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 very fortunate that somebody didn't fight back and ended up having even worse things happen in that room. And the mere fact is, I hope those two other officers got stripped too, because they just stood there and watched him do this. Okay.
Less than 2 weeks after this interaction took place, CBS News Chicago caught wind of the story and were the first major outlet to break the story outside of YouTube. But at the time, the story was just an article. And as far as I can tell, not even James had posted any footage of this interaction at the time. So there was no video attached, nothing really to make this go viral. But despite the lack of public scrutiny, Chief Scott was initially placed on an unpaid administrative leave. But then Mayor Bryant started trying to fire him, so Chief Scott just resigned before he could be terminated. And although he got away without being technically fired from his job, he didn't get away without being sued and charged with multiple crimes.
Former acting police chief, rather, is facing criminal charges. Our Andrew Ramos broke this story last month. 47-year-old Carl Scott was on duty last month when a man known as Tyrant Terminator Audits on social media walked into the police station to file a complaint against him related to an earlier incident. That is where the trouble started.
He took me in his room, slammed me down on like this little metal plate where you sit at, and he told the two officers to cut the cameras off, and they just started beating me.
He accuses Scott of repeatedly hitting him in the head while the two other officers watched. Court documents state that Scott dropped James's cell phone into a sewer outside the police station, where it was later recovered. If convicted, Scott faces up to 5 years in prison.
5. Personally, I think it should be more. That's just look. More, far more than 5. No, far more than 5. Far more than 5.
Scott was charged with multiple offenses, including aggravated battery, official misconduct, and obstruction of justice for attempting to destroy Snow's cell phone, which had recorded some of the assault. Snow and his attorney, Jed Stone, were both in Cook County Criminal Court to sit in on Scott's pretrial hearing, where Scott was successfully served with a civil lawsuit in connection to the attack.
This isn't some rookie cop that didn't know the difference. He was the chief of police of the village, and he beat my client.
So just a few months later, in August of this year, Mr. Scott pled guilty to battery.
New at 6, Robbins former acting police chief Carl Scott has pled guilty to battery charges. This is a story we broke back in July of 2024. Scott has been sentenced to 2 years probation. He also had his law enforcement certificate revoked, meaning he can no longer work as a police officer.
And
it's okay. All right, whatever.
just when you'd think that the dust had settled around this whole situation, CBS News Chicago acquired the body camera and interrogation room footage that we saw earlier and released it as a news story.
New at 4:30, new police body cam video shows a former acting police chief in the south suburb of Robbins hitting a man in the back of his head. We first brought you this story a year and a half ago. Happened in July 2024 when a 43-year-old man came to the police department to file a complaint against the chief over a previous incident.
So for whatever reason, immediately after CBS News ran this story, Mr. Scott decided that it would be a good idea to call them up and offer to give a personal interview to tell his side of the story.
I stand on all the things I said. I stand on it, and I think I'll be proven to be 100% right that that man ain't the sharpest knife in the set. He ain't the most useful tool in the shed. He ain't the brightest bulb in the box. I stand on that. I stand on that. I stand on that.
Which resulted in what I believe to be one of the most cringeworthy interviews of 2025. Like, seriously, I don't know how this isn't a meme yet. It's almost like a carbon copy of the R. Kelly interview.
Tonight.
But just so y'all know, in March of this year, he was successfully served with that civil lawsuit. Okay, March of this year, 2025. This happened in 2024. Okay, cool.
In an interview you'll see only on CBS News Chicago, former Chief Carl Scott spoke to our Jermont Terry, apologizing and taking responsibility for what happened.
Let's hear.
Everybody needs to know the why. not the one-sided narrative.
Scott understands the video is damning.
He lost weight. Good for you, man. Stress will do that to you. By any means necessary, said Malcolm. Hey, look, if that's what helped you lose that weight, buddy, good for you. I'm proud of you, man. Proud.
And he admits on that day, he should have done one thing.
Walk away.
Instead, Scott says he let this man, who CBS Chicago identified as James, get the best of him.
What? James got the best of you? Oh, okay.
When we humanize the badge. So when we humanize that, then we understand.
This. Oh, yeah, buddy. Listen, I would if I were you, man, I'd just go start getting some like acting classes because you suck at acting. Okay, here's what you do: keep like onions in your hand, so you don't have your hand. You have one hand always closed, right? You got some onions, and when you put it up to your eye, you squeeze the onion, and it's gonna make you look like you're crying. You didn't have the onions with you though. This man up here trying to cry his way out of this situation. The hell?
You understand the frustration? You understand what it took? You understand what's at stake? Do you understand what you're protecting? So then the badge meant nothing at that point.
His actions cost him his badge.
I first initially came to Robbins as the deputy chief.
And his law enforcement career, which included 23 years as a federal agent before joining Robbins PD.
That means that you sucked for a long time before that finally all the sucking stopped. That's what that means. That means you were a horrible human being for a long ass time before finally it was caught on camera. That's what that means.
A defaming of my name.
Defaming.
Has caused a strike against my integrity.
What did you mean when you said cut the cameras off?
My mind wanted to hold a conversation with him.
Hold. Hold a conversation. This is conversation, and he holding it. Hold a conversation with you, buddy. Hey, look, that's one way to talk to somebody. All right? It's a 5-finger conversation. You even fed the man. You gave him a sandwich multiple times. That's how hospitable this man is. He was so hospitable. He brought the man into a private room, got his own table, his own chair, nobody else eating there. He brought him, personally served him his sandwich while holding him to a conversation. That's what you call dedication to the badge. Why he lost his job is beyond me. The man's just doing what the man's supposed to do. Y'all are defaming the man's name for just holding a conversation. What's wrong with y'all? Huh? You ever seen nobody hold a conversation with a 5-piece sandwich? Come on now.
Scott resigned days before the Robbins mayor wanted to terminate him.
One mistake doesn't define a person.
And after that 2-year probation period, Scott won't be watched anymore, but he will never be allowed to work in law enforcement again here in Illinois.
Now, keep in mind, all this happened months after Mr. Scott had supposedly made his final round in the news cycle. And so Mr. Scott had already been working on ways to move on to bigger and better things after his law enforcement career. And it turns out that while he was under criminal investigation, on April 30th of this year, to be exact, Mr. Scott was elected and appointed to be the vice president of Elementary School District 159. Now,
you might want to hold a conversation with kids and their parents, so that's going to be dangerous.
Because CBS News had brought this story back into the limelight a little bit by releasing the body camera footage, and of course, Mr. Scott decided to heighten that limelight by volunteering for an incredibly insincere and awkward interview, the parents in that school district suddenly realized that he had been quietly slipped onto the board with no one mentioning anything about his past or his pending criminal charges.
Well,
Though Carl Scott Sr. stepped down as Robbins police chief more than a year ago following that violent altercation that was captured on video, those concerns have now followed him to his new position here on the school board with demands for a second resignation. But Scott says he's not backing down. This footage of then Robbins police chief Carl Scott Sr. hitting a man in front of other officers has parents raising concerns at Wednesday night's District 159 school board meeting in Madison, where Scott, now serving as the school district's vice president, faced calls for his resignation.
He's still sticking with the look. I'll give him credit for this one. I'll give the man some prop for this one. He riding that style till it fall off. I know for a fact there are tons of spray paint companies that will never go out of business as long as this man's got hair. I tell you, even when he loses it, he gonna have a way to spray paint all of that back on. He stick with the look. At least he's committed to that. That's kudos.
Our children deserve great leadership, not subprime leadership, and a leadership that deals with integrity, and not violence. Our children deserve a role model with integrity and honor. And Carl Scott is not that person to me. And the community, if he is not removed, the community will band together and we will make our voices heard in this community.
How does the conduct displayed in the video align with the district's values related to student safety, conflict resolution, and respect?
Makes sense.
The behavior shown in the video appears inconsistent with the standards we expect from those entrusted with the care of our children.
I agree.
So for whatever reason, during this meeting or whatever it was, Mr. Scott was allowed to address the parents and the community directly in a response. And you'd think this would finally be the time where he actually takes accountability for his actions and tries to save face and keep this new job he's got, right?
Okay, good evening to our community and fellow board members. In response to the things that have been said, number one, I respect anyone's opinions. I respect your views, but there are just a couple comments that I would like to make, and I don't have a problem with addressing. When
I like how what I find hilarious is the caption on the caption on the bottom is saying what he should be saying. That's comedy gold. What he meant to say was what would have been better, and they're putting it at the very bottom. So make sure you do. I don't know if you can do it. Try and multitask it. And if you got to pause and go back, but listen to what he said and go back and read what they say he should have been saying. Hilarious stuff.
Went and conducted my own statement with CBS. I tried to make it clear and portray exactly who I am and what I stand for. One thing that they did not air is that if we took every person in this room and we put them on public display, would you stay and sit in that room, that same room? Number one, I was not terminated. I resigned. Prior to going to the police department, I successfully retired as a federal agent. 25 and a half years. I have not had nothing on my record as simple as a write-up.
So Mr. Scott goes on yet another cringeworthy pity party for the next several minutes before finally arriving at the crux of his defense, which is, of course, to blame James.
Let me address what has not been told. The person that was on the opposite side of that, if you don't know his name or his internet name, please search it. I'll say it. James Snow. His name on the internet is Tyrant the Terminator. He goes around and he purposely tries to create issues.
Oh.
And he finds situations and he tries to blow them up to get a rise out of people. Prior to that event that took place, he came out there before and raised an issue in the Robbins Health Clinic. And that was our first time ever having any encounter. In between those months of February and July, the same person has took time on pages to harass me, cyberbully, as well as make
Cyberbully.
threats. So on this day in question, what has not been shown is the fact that while trying to create yet another issue and another rise, and videoing and trying to capture video of civilians walking in and out of the station that begged him to not video them. When he was at the clinic videoing patients, which is a HIPAA violation, he was trying to video behind the clerk's desk, where law enforcement and sensitive information that could have had anybody's information in here was on there. He was trying to video this stuff to get information. So being requested.
Maybe y'all can go back and look at see if that's what happened. That's not what happened, like at all. And like I don't even know how he got that from there, but I guess when you're feeling guilty, you got to make up all kinds of stupid shit. So that's what he's doing right now.
To leave was not his choice. He chose to continue to try to do things. What was not shown was him aggressively coming towards me. But because I'm held at a standard, at a higher standard, they show
aggressively coming towards you. Standing in the corner. Remember, I showed y'all officer blocking door. Officer, remember? James turns to walk. Officer grabs his arm. You knock phone out hand. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what you said. And then as James was walking, you grab James and push him into the door, elbow him in the head. He came at you though. I remember that he didn't do that. Elbow him in the head, punch him in the back, push him against the door again, handcuff him, walk him through the hallway, push him into the wall, walk him down another hallway, push him into the door frame, walk him into the room, shove him in the seat. No, I don't remember him coming aggressively towards you. I'm pretty damn sure of that one. That never happened at all.
Me.
Ah, yes, the old everyone gets mad defense with a little bit of it was his fault sprinkled on top. The whole, oh, just because I'm a public official, I should be held to a higher standard complaint also seems kind of familiar. Almost like I just heard this before recently. So anyway, Mr. Scott went on to bore the audience with this whole I'm humanizing the badge speech, which I don't even think he understands what that phrase means. But it wasn't long before someone in the crowd just got tired of his bullshit and eventually heckled and booed him out of the room.
Thank you so much, Mr. Scott. So at this time, I'll turn it up. I'm sorry, ma'am. At this time, I understand what you're trying to say. I understand.
I noticed something on the board. I'm gonna mention it, and I don't give a damn who get mad at this one. I noticed something about the board. Y'all noticed something about the board? Anybody? Let me point it out to you. It's a heavy ratio going on here on the board. The ratio of women to men. I'm going to go on a limb and say these ladies were bamboozled by Mr. Man's spray cut. I'm saying it now. They were bamboozled by his spray cut. They thought he was fresh. Had nothing to do with qualifications. Get mad if you want. I'm saying what I see. That's fresh meat for them. This ain't nothing about the kids. That's why they're defending them.
Resource officer. We are no longer taking any more public comments at this time.
I didn't say that.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. That concludes our closed session.
I took accountability.
Yeah, Carl, you're not gonna go back. Go ahead.
I took accountability. I did. All right.
It's everybody's fault but yours. You sound ridiculous.
We gotta finish me. I won't leave her out there.
Oh, she trying to beg him to stay. Oh, your honey bun's leaving. This whole thing is just absolutely stupid to me. Absolutely stupid.
All right. Thank you so much.
it is now December. I mean, that was.
So as of the date of editing this episode, District 159's website still lists Scott as the vice president. It's unclear if the board is going to be taking any action to address the concerns of the community or the parents in that district. And James's civil lawsuit is still pending. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this story sheds some light on how deep the threads go of government employment within the web of that industry, particularly at the local level. It's
now I'm going to go back because I think the rest of it's a moral story on his end, but I want to address something for us. Another life lesson. Your actions on other people have consequences, mad consequences. Now, again, you as a public figure have a personal responsibility to act a different way when it comes to people. Different. You took the office itself comes with a different responsibility. Now, if you violate the responsibility, you can't get mad at everybody else being mad at your violation. Own it. You were a dummy. You did something egregious. Don't blame the other dude because we have camera film and he didn't do nothing to you. You got butt hurt. You got in your feelings because you were doing things egregiously. Kudos to James. I hope he get all kinds of money from this. I hope he get mad cash, and I hope this man gets completely put in his place. That's what I hope to happen. Based on the footage I saw, I hope James get everything that he's supposed to get. I really do. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on this one, because these people here, enforcement and then the school board, they all need to be replaced too, by the way. You get rid of all of them. Just get rid of them. They're not doing their job either. You have parents. That's who you're supposed to be about, the parents. Not your back book, not your pocket. You're supposed to be about the parents. If the parents don't want that person there, get rid of that person. Parents said so. And you have footage of the man acting a fool? No, get rid of him. But no protections. Anyway, you might have a different viewpoint about it. I'd like to hear what you think about it. Please leave your comments in the comment section below, and we're going to get back to you as soon as humanly possible.
One wrong move turn the present into the past. I don't ride for nobody, no badge, no crew. Truth don't play favorites, it just come through. I don't take sides, I take time and review. So to put it, let the context break through. If you clean, that stamp stay true. If you foul, that show up too. No miss, no spin, no cover up hype. Everything judge in plain sight.